I know yesterday we talked a little bit about ways to help yourself during anxiety, stress, troubled times. And we're going to kind of keep going with that to kind of just have a few different tools in your toolbox that you can grab to from your yoga practice for times when you really just need to calm yourself down or just attend to yourself. So yesterday we did a little bit of work with elongating the exhale and some grounding practices and a little bit of, left, right kind of thing. And we'll continue with that because those are good things to have in your toolbox. But I wanted to show you a few other very specific things that you can do to help you. And so we'll start with this a little bit. The first is called the self-havening touch. I learned this from Ariel Schwartz when I did the applied polyvagal theory course with her last year. And this is all for trauma response work. But I think we're all a little traumatized at the moment. But anyway, the self-havening is very simple. So, you sit up and we can start by just rubbing our hands. Very getting some friction, getting some warmth. And the first thing I like to do, this isn't exactly part of the self-havening, but the first thing I like to do is just to put that warmth over my eyes. And you can dip your head into your palms a little bit so your eyes can just rest in that warmth of your palms and let your eyes soften behind their lids and feel that sense of just the teeniest bit of pressure, not a lot, but a deep support. And let your brain rest within your palms. See if you can just let that heat kind of penetrate through your eyes into your skull a little bit. And then relax that and and you can do that much longer, in the interest of time, none of these things we're going to stay on for a long time, but when you're just kind of hanging out by yourself, you can do this for as long as you want. Now take your hands to your hairline. This is that self-havening. So we're going to just gently brush from the center outward to the sides, maybe a couple of passes, moving down your face right above your eyebrows, kind of just moving your finger pads from the center outward, and maybe underneath your eyes as well. Nice and gentle touch. You can even do from your jaw up toward your ears. And then hands on your shoulders and just kind of go down from your shoulders toward your elbows. Close your eyes if you can. Just imagine that you're giving yourself the love that you offer everybody else. Okay? Just a little bit of self-havening. Okay, and then let's pause there with your hands in a comfortable place on your shoulders. And just feel that sense of wrapping, just like you felt your hands on your eyes being a support. Let your hands on your shoulders or on your arms be a support. Notice your breathing. That's very simply what self-havening is. And then we're going to move up to do a little bit of work with the vagus nerve. So start with I have my index fingers behind my ears and my other fingers in front, and just give your ears a little bit of a massage. You can go in circles or stripe up and down or however feels good. Just allowing your ears, remember your vagus nerve goes out to your ears. It's a very wandery nerve. It goes in a lot of places in your body, does a lot of tasks. So a little bit of an ear massage. And then we're going to turn this into humming breath. So be humming breath. You won't be able to hear me. So listen first and then we'll do together we're going to do 3 solid long humming breaths. So you're just going to close off the flaps of your ears and take a beautiful inhale and a nice slow exhale. And as you exhale, hum to yourself on the exhale. So it starts to, the sound is just filling up your head. Okay, and we'll do three. Mm. Sure. You've done three. Take a deep breath in. Let your exhale be, if you'd like, let it be like a sigh. I'm going to do two acupressure points. We're going to start with large intestine 20, which is right at the sides of your nose on your maxilla bones. Okay, so not pressing on your nostrils, but on the sides. You can do it with your index fingers, your middle fingers, your ring fingers, whatever feels comfortable. Just next to the bottom edge of your nostrils, gently press. And again, any of these facial pressure points, you want to be, whether it's covering your eyes or an acupressure point, you just want to be very gentle. You don't want to like push really hard. And this, the large intestine meridian is all about letting go. So, it's finding that sense of what is it that you're ready to release. Maybe a little bit of stress, maybe your attachment to whatever, just see what you can find to let go a little bit and just let the body receive that input. And again, you can do these for much longer, but in the interest of time, we're going to move up now. And the next point is a bladder, kidney bladder point or urinary bladder point right at the inside edge of your eyebrows. So gentle pressure here. And this is about stress relief. And notice, I'm sure you've seen and done yourself where people kind of rub this area a lot when they're feeling stressed. So notice, just the impact. Relax your skull, relax the muscles around your skull. Let your body receive your intention to release stress. Relax your hands. And there's many, many other vagal toning exercises. Simply splashing your face with cold water or drinking and gargling cold water. Great things to do if you feel like you need a vagal reset a little bit. But for now, let's sit comfortably for a moment. Just relax. You can bring your hands down. You don't need to touch your face any longer. And one of our secret weapons of strong vagal tone is just living in gratitude. All right, so remember the appreciations, the glimmers. Glimmers are like the opposite of triggers. Little tiny moments through your day where you notice something beautiful or something special, and it can be small, like the way the snow glistens or the way bare trees look in the sky, anything at all. So it's a matter of paying attention and noticing these small little glimmers through our day, leaning into the glass half full of appreciations instead of lack. So as you breathe now, breathe in your appreciations, just whatever's coming to your mind, marinate in that for a moment. Remember to let the exhales be steady and long. And let's bring our hands together at our heart and offer an intention for yourself here. How can your practice support your well-being today? What do you need? Let's release the hands and find our way onto our back. So, every bit of our yoga practice is nourishing to our mind and body and can help us with stress reduction. Really, lots of forms of exercise. Yoga is one of many. So, remember, if you love other things, don't forget to do the other things that you love as well. And maybe try to include some things that are rhythmic, like walking or swimming or something that is left, right, to give you that benefit. All right, let's stretch our arms overhead and let's do a little left right here. So reach the left side and reach the right side. And just imagine that spaciousness through your shoulders and your ribs and your hips as we reach into space. Okay. All right, and then bring your knees into your chest. And let's rock a little bit. Remember that swaying and bouncing and rocking and shaking and tapping. All these things are very good for our nervous system too. All right, let's circle your knees, kind of rolling in one direction, feeling your way into that movement. Notice your head, let it relax. Try not to have tension. Switch the directions of your legs. A few passes, let your legs be soft and passive. The arms are doing the work. Okay, and we're gonna open up your knees away from the middle and bring them back in. I'm gonna get into the hips a little bit today. The hips are, notoriously a place where we can hold some tension. And getting our pelvis and our hips to release can be a really beautiful way of accessing our deep selves, right? So if you've been disassociating a little bit or just not being fully present with yourself because of stress, getting into the hips can be a great way to bring you back home. All right, right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's roll around in your ankles and feel your toes wiggle and say hi to your feet and enjoy kind of bringing every part of you online. When we feel sensation, we bring ourselves into fullness and into presence. Let's switch sides, left knee in, right leg long on the ground. Of course, as you go, if you notice places in your body that need some TLC, take note and care for yourself. All right, let's reach out, stretch your limbs wide to a jar on the ground, reach into space. And then exhale and draw your knees in, pick up your head and snug ball. All right, another thing, so stretch out. Another thing that can be very helpful for our nervous system is pendiculations. So I think you've all done this with me. You could do this segmenting different parts of your body at a time, like starting at your feet and moving up your body. But for the interest, again, of time, we're going to do a whole body pendiculation. So as you stretch out and lengthen, let's squeeze, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and squeeze everything you can find to squeeze. Just give a good squeeze to any muscle you can access. And then exhale and draw your knees into your chest. Take a deep breath in. As your next exhale comes, pick up your head, all your breath out, and squeeze on that out breath. Every access point you have in the body, give a good squeeze to. And then breathe. And let's do it one more time. Expanding outward, take a deep breath in. Hold your breath, squeeze your body. Everything you can find something you didn't find before. Sometimes I press my arms and legs down into the ground to get my back to open or to strengthen a little bit more, and then release that. Bring your knees into your chest, breathe. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale,
Pick up your head and squeeze everything you can find here, face to feet. And then relax your head down. Bring your arms out to the sides, feet on the ground, and let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. And just finding that nice, beautiful rhythmic movement. Turn your head as well. So opposite of your knees, let your head turn. This is part of that left right thing when we cross the midline and we pattern into different hemispheres, moving from left to right. We can get a lot of benefit to soothe our nervous system. All right, one more time, stretching your limbs. Exhale, knees into your chest. And we're going to put our right foot on top of our left knee for a little bit of a modified reverse pigeon pose. So instead of holding, your leg, put your left hand on your right foot and your right hand on your right knee and do some circles with that hip joint. And just kind of getting into some nooks and crannies, warming up that hip joint. You can find your breath as you go. And then we're going to drop our knees and foot over to the left. Take a deep breath in and just feel what you're feeling. I like to hold my shin with my left hand to kind of keep it in place. And then come back up and let's switch legs. Left foot on right knee. And instead of reaching back like we normally do, hang on to your foot and your knee and use your arms to do some movement in that hip joint. So we're kind of using our right knee to keep that left foot where it should be. Relax that and put your right foot on the ground, and we'll drop our legs over to the right. Okay. Turn your head left. Maybe you're holding your shin, maybe you're holding your knee. Just kind of find where you are. If you don't get all the way to the ground, that's okay too. You can shove blocks in places to support you. And then release that and come all the way back up. Bring your knees into your chest and come to a happy baby pose. Grab onto your feet, drop your knees down toward the ground, a little bit of rocking if it feels nice for your body. All right, lift your legs straight up in the air. Your arms can be overhead or down at your sides or out to the sides, whatever feels most supportive. Let's flex and point our feet while we're here. Just again, say hello. You can do a little point in there too. Flex, point, all the things. Maybe a little bit of rolling through your ankles. It's different when your legs are up in the air. And then we're going to open our legs out like a V. Find your breath. Take a deep breath in. Arms weave through your legs. Find a little core. And the core is a great place to help yourself get grounded when we're stable in our core. It's a nice grounding feeling. And then release your legs back to neutral, knees into your chest, a little bit of rocking. All right, roll over onto your side and come up to your hands and your knees. So find your way into some cat-cows. We'll arch our back and round our spine. Taking your time to move through your vertebrae. Notice your breath. Reconnect. If you kind of lost sight of your breath a little bit, reconnect. Feel that beautiful movement of the spine. All right, wag your tail side to side, back to that left-right movement. Just see if you can get your hips to wag from side to side. Kind of undulate a little bit like a fish swimming. All right, and then we're going to drop our hips all the way over to one side. So as far as your body says is okay to go. And then all the way over to the other side. Alright, and then coming back, let's find a child's pose. Settle your hips back toward the heels, a deep compression in the hip joints now. Walk the hands forward. Stretch through your shoulders in a child's pose. Big breaths. Melt your head. This is a soothing pose. Let it be that for you. Very grounding. Walk the hands over to one side or the other so we feel this reach in our side body. Open up through our shoulder, our ribs. Often when we're stressed, we breathe shallow or fast, and our ribs can kind of get a little stuck, a little gluey. So open those ribs up and breathe. And we walk to the other side and have the same experience here of those shoulders and ribs opening up. Come back to center, come up onto all fours, wag your tail again. Okay, this time put a paintbrush on your tailbone, and we're gonna do circles with the pelvis itself. So draw like as if you had a tail, your tail had a paintbrush, and it was drawing a circle on the wall behind you. Not a circle on the ground, a circle on the wall behind you. So this gets into your low back. It'll get into your ribs and your core. It'll get into your hips. Then change directions. Make sure you're breathing. Let's find a twist. Reach that arm all the way, either one up in the air. Exhale, slide that shoulder underneath. Breathing well. Melt the head. Enjoy the rib cage opening up. Enjoy the shoulder stretch. All right, and then inhale and bring that arm all the way back to the air. Hand down onto the ground. We'll switch sides. Finding your breath, twisting here. Remember that twists are this beautiful kind of squeeze to the lungs that gets us to touch deep places in our lung tissue if we allow our breath to be full and deep, both on the inhale and the exhale. Reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground, and let's find a dog pose. Take some time. Pedaling is another example of that left and right. So allow your heel to drop down, the other knee to bend, back and forth, opening up your calves, opening up your Achilles. Feeling your feet and your hands. This is a place of deep grounding. When we're in a pose, when our head is low like this, it can feel very grounding. So allow that, feel your roots, feel that yield, and then push into length so you feel space as well. Come home into your breathing. Feel your sit bones start to lift so the hamstrings are opening. And then walk your feet forward and come to Uttanasana. Bend your knees a little bit or a lot. Bring your hands onto blocks for a halfway lift here. And then melt and fold again. Open up your feet, spread your bones, feel the backs of your legs open. A halfway lift again. Let's get into the hips here. So bend one knee and stretch the other hip way back. And then switching sides. So again, moving through lefts and rights. Make sure you're breathing. Okay. Get a little sensation in your hips. You can even pick up your toes. You can feel that stretch all the way down to your feet. All right, and then a neutral pose, 2 feet grounding. Drop your head. When you feel ready, come on up. You can sit your sit bones down, kind of squat before coming up, whatever feels good. Reaching the arms up to the sky. Finding that breath. Let's open up and cactus the arms. Have a good squeeze back in the back body. And then exhale and round in forearms to touch. Inhale, rising up. Let's interlace your fingers. Reach your index finger straight up. Tip your ears right behind your upper arms and reach up and back. Feel that extension. Take your feet a little wider and we're going to reach up and over to one side and then roll forward. Let the back open and come to the other side. You can switch the cross of your fingers if you'd like. And then come back up and release the hands down. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. Now, at any point, if you want to do anything differently than what I love that you're at home, so you can just let your body find its wisdom of what it wants in your yoga practice. Okay, so you can always divert from what I'm doing. Reaching and expanding, exhale, and floating forward. Let the back open up deeply here. A halfway lift, extending through the spine, melt to fold. Step back to a dog pose, reaching through the body one more time, that long spine. Come forward into a plank and hold yourself steady. Root the index finger mounds down, drop your shoulder blades down the back, zip up through the center line. Breathe. You can put your knees down anytime, you can put your knees down. Find the ground. Let's roll the shoulders here a few times. Open up the tops of your shoulders. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, and melt back down. Come up onto your finger pads, wide arms, elbows bent. Inhale, come on up. Turn your head to the left. Exhale, down, come back up. Turn your head the other way. Coming back down, up onto all fours, wiggle around your spine, wag your tail again, maybe even let your feet move left and right. Okay. All right, feel that extension. You can just bring your right foot forward here, or if you like to do a dog pose and swing that leg up and bring it through, that's another choice as well. Coming into a lunge. As you get here and steady yourself, feel the ground. Okay, these standing poses, all the standing poses are very grounding for us. Reach into the earth. Let's start bending and straightening the front knee. Let this be an exercise of returning back home to your awareness of breath. Where do you like to inhale? Where do you like to exhale? There's no rules. We're just in our bodies, taking care of ourselves. Round through your legs and rise up. Crescent lunge. Reaching the arms, feel that extension. Maybe you want to have your hands behind you and open up a little bit more. Maybe you want to cactus your arms. Maybe you want to put your hands on your hips. Whatever feels good. You're going to come down, bring your left hand onto either a block or the ground, and we're going to take some big spiral or circles with our arm. You can put your back knee on the ground if you'd like for this. You can keep it up, but remember, whatever you're doing, we're not just doing a shoulder movement, we're doing a whole torso movement as we twist and open. Let your eyes follow your hand. How's the breath? If that makes you dizzy, don't follow your hand. Okay, come back to a lunge. Back foot comes forward, a deep fold. A halfway lift to extend. Melt and relax. Let's step our other foot back, coming into a lunge on this side. Left foot is in front. Open up that front hip or back hip flexors. And let's start to move. Bending and straightening. with your breath. Is there a part of your body that you haven't kind of touched yet? Is there a place where you haven't sensed? See if you can scan and notice all parts of you. You ready? Ground your legs, root to rise. Okay. Full breaths. You can have your arms up in the traditional pathway of this posture, or you can put your hands anywhere else. Just let your body open up the way it wants to today. Let's place our right hand down onto a block or onto the ground. Your back knee can come down or lift up, your choice. And we'll start moving through the twist. If it bothers you to follow your arm, don't, but let your ribs be a part of this. We're not just swinging the shoulder. And feel free to pause at the top, lift that back thigh. Hands come down, dog pose. Full breaths here, extending through your heart, lift it to your hips, come forward into a plank. Ground yourself. You can put your knees down, find the ground, move through vinyasa. Any back bend that calls your name, do. Make sure you're moving with your breath. Come back to a child's pose. Feel that compression, let your head drop. Remember the feeling of your eyes in your warm palms. Remember the feeling of that self-havening touch. Deep compression in the hips. All right, we're gonna come on up. You can move through a dog pose or just come up to stand. And we're gonna take our feet wide on the edges of the mat, okay? And first we're gonna come into a high squat. We're gonna come into a low squat as well, but first start high. And you can adjust your feet a little wider, turned out, turned, straight, whatever feels right. You want your knees and your feet to be kind of lining up with each other so that there's no strain. Elbows can be on top of knees or inside knees. Drop the hips. Find your breath. Push up to stand. Standing star. Now this time we're going to come a little lower, and this isn't always such a happy thing for people's knees. So when you come down to a deep squat, if you need to sit on a block, you can do that. If you need to put a blanket under your heels, you can do that. If you need to be just higher because your knees don't flex as deeply, that's fine too. If you need support, take it. Okay? Just go as deep as your body will allow and let your pelvis drop toward the ground. A little bit of engagement along your spine and through your core. And see what putting your head in your palms might feel like. It may not be comfortable, but if it is, just allow your forehead to be in your palms, your eyes to be in your palms, whatever feels good. Release that. You can use blocks to help you stand up if you need. Okay, come on up to stand. And let's just shake out your legs. It's a lot of deep flexion for your hips and your knees. And we're going to take some wide legs here now. Okay, so one more squat. Okay, nice wide leg squat. You can put your hands or your elbows inside your knees and coax open your knees so that the inner thighs get a good stretch. Feel the grounding of the four corners of your feet. Breathing well.
All right, come on up to stand and we'll try a Parsva Konasana. Then turn your right foot out and we'll find our way into side angle pose here. So Parsva Konasana, extend through the body, root into the feet, breathing well. Feel it reach through your arm, extend the whole side, draw your thigh bone back. What do you notice about your breathing? Can you melt through your neck and shoulders? Can you feel the soles of your feet a little bit more? How about your breath? Now, come back up. Let's turn our feet. Come to the second side, Parsva Konasana this way. Right, elbow on your knee or hand on a block. Swing that other arm overhead and feel that extension. We're grounding through the legs. So give your weight, feel the earth press into it a bit, yield into it a bit. From that yielding, expand your body. Let your thigh bone draw back. And as your right thigh bone draws back, bring your left sit bone forward a little bit and you open up your left knee. Relax your shoulders, keep steady in your breathing. Spread open the bones of your feet. Let's come back up. Turn your feet straight. So feet are pointing straight. You can even turn them in if you get a hip cramp at all. Sometimes turning your toes in can be helpful. And we'll come down. You can put your hands on blocks. You can put your hands on the ground. You can put your head on a block. You can put your head on the ground. You can do whatever you want for this pose. Okay, so find your way into an inversion here where our shoulders lift up away from the ears. The legs are strong and stable. We're not losing our ground, but we're gaining it. Feel the inversion. Let your head fill. Soften the skin on your face. Spread the bones of your feet. Engage your quads. And then we'll turn back to the front of your mat for a dog pose. Bring your legs closer together. All right, enjoy this. Push your ground, lengthen your spine. All right, we're gonna come forward into a plank. Push the ground away, index finger mounds down. Knees can come down to the ground, find the earth. Move your blocks out of the way if they are at your sides. Okay, and we're gonna bring our left knee up high toward our armpit. Look at your knee and just let that hip open up. And see, imagine a sandbag on that side of your pelvis. All right, let's thread our right arm under and turn this into a twist. And again, you feel that crossing of hemispheres. Let your gaze turn all the way to your hand that's on the ground. You can support underneath your knee with a block if you'd like. Sometimes, I have my foot on the ground so I don't feel like I'm dangling. But if the whole leg is dangling, you want to have some support. Open up your chest, enjoy. Let's come back round. Switching sides. Bring your right knee up high toward your arm. Gaze out over it if you'd like. Drop some weight into that sit bone. Imagine a sandbag. And then we'll come to the twist. So thread your left arm underneath you and slide open toward your back. Drop your head down. Let your right hand touch the ground. Maybe turn your head. Feel that cross hemisphere work. Big breaths.
Come all the way back round.
Come up onto all fours and let's wag your tail again. Okay. Any circling through your spine, through your hips, a cat cow, whatever feels good. Nourish yourself. All right, we're gonna bring our right foot up. Keep your back knee down on the ground. Okay. Let's open up that hip flexor of the back leg a little bit. You can use a block for this. Maybe put a block next to your right leg. Open up through the side of your body. And we'll turn this toward a twist. So focusing in on that psoas muscle. Our psoas, when we are in a fight or flight state, that muscle likes to engage a lot. So let's give it some space and some openness. Relax. And come out of that side. Switch to the other side. Left foot forward, right knee on the ground. Find your breath. Just enjoy opening up through the hip flexor. Maybe your hand can go on a block next to your left leg so your right arm can reach up and extend. A little bit off to the left. Just see what helps you open up through the front side of your pelvis here. And then find a little twist in there. Forearm on your knee, hand on your knee, so that you have that extension of your spine as you twist. How's your breathing? Back. Neutral. Be on all fours for a moment. Do whatever is needed to kind of get your hips to neutralize. Maybe a child's pose. Just see what feels good. We're going to come up with our right foot forward again. Grab your two blocks and have the block on the inside edge of your right foot. Your back knee can be down, or you can bring your back knee up off the ground. I'm keeping mine down just because it's a little bit more gentle. And we'll just open your knee like a little windshield wiper. Okay. So this is why I like to keep my back knee down, because it's easy for that left hip to kind of corkscrew and go with. Try to keep your left hip stable. Sometimes when my knee is off the ground, that's a little harder for me to do. So you do you, whichever keeps that knee stable. Open up a little butterfly of that knee. Maybe you want to pause there if you want, hand on your knee. And then come back to center. This is deep work in the pelvis. Feel it when you come back. Maybe drop back toward a child's pose. Feel that compression. Notice what's happening in your hips. And then we'll come back up to the other side. Block on the inside edge of that left foot. Okay. And then when you're ready, we'll kind of butterfly that left knee in and out like a flapping butterfly wing. So notice your heart, notice your hip, your other hip, your right hip. Try not to like sink down like this. We're not dropping our hip and kind of sliding into that side of the body. We're keeping neutral. After a few passes, if you'd like to kind of stay there and press on the knee, you can. Again, come on up and back to a child's pose, and just let your hips receive what you just did, kind of coming back to neutral territory. And as you come up, we're going to drop our hips over to the right and put a blanket underneath your right sit bone. Knees, your feet are off on the left side. Okay, so rest the front of your ankle and the arch of your other foot, and then drop your sit bone down so that left sit bone sinks into the pocket. Right hand behind you, reach that arm up, and then maybe take the hand to the outside of the knee and twist here.
Maybe you'd like to keep your arm up, maybe you'd like to keep your arm down. The traditional pose is hand on your knee, but you do you. Open up the ribs, turn your head all the way, turn your eyes all the way. Try not to burrow your eyes, we're not straining the muscles of our eyes. How's your breath? Come back to center and let's go to the other side. Okay, so a blanket underneath your left sit bone. Your right sit bone kind of hangs down in that pocket. Your feet are off to the right. The arch of your left foot supports the front of your right ankle. Feel the expansion. Reach the arm up, hand behind you to support. Maybe hand comes on the knee. Maybe you like to keep your arm up. Just kind of experiment. Also, you can put your hand on a block behind you if that's better than the ground. Breathing, turning, twisting, turning your eyes. Remember, we're not hardening the muscles in our eyes. Just go to wherever the end point is. Finding breath. Come back to center. Get on the edge of your blanket now with two sit bones and take the soles of the feet together. So a little bit of Baddha Konasana, hands behind you to help you lift through your spine, and let's open the soles of the feet and drop the knees. You can, if you like, put your hands on your knees, but I like to bring my hands behind me to help support my spine. Let's do the work of dropping your knees down toward the ground. Opening the breath. You'll probably notice that one foot opens more than the other, one knee drops lower than the other. Just pay attention to your subtleties and grab a block and stick it between your feet. We're not going to do this whole sequence that we've done before with the blocks, but just for this. Hands behind you to support. Open up the soles of the feet. Big toes pull away from the block. Knees drop down. And then the last variation we'll do is feet up on the block. You can hold your toes, lift your chest. Drop your knees. So actively drop your knees. We're doing some, work in the hips here. It's not just passive. How's your breathing? And then come back and just notice if your Baddha Konasana has shifted and opened a little bit more. And hopefully your hips are nice and open now for a Supta Baddha Konasana. Before we do that, grab your knees, just drop your chin, open up your back body. Maybe you need a little extra twist. You put your hands behind you, feet wide, and just windshield wiper your knees. Maybe you're just ready for a Supta Baddha Konasana. Now, for today, you can do whatever you want, you can ignore me, but if you want to follow me, open up your blanket, and we're going to only use a blanket as a prop. So we're going to roll a snake with our blanket, and I'm purposely having you lie flat on your back today instead of on props to give you that quality of grounding. This is a good time to, make sure you're warm. Socks back on, sweater back on. We're gonna come down onto our back and take the blanket that you just rolled, and your feet are in Baddha Konasana. You're gonna put the blanket over top your feet and then grab the edges and kind of tuck them around your hips like a little nest. And then if that's not enough support, you can always grab your blocks to stick them underneath your knees or your hips, whatever it is that you need. And let's breathe here for a bit. If you're cold, put a blanket over you. Okay, try to remember your nervous system likes to be warm, not hot, not cold, just nice and Goldilocks neutral. Feel free to put your arms in a different position if you would like. As your body settles into this posture of openness and trust, maybe put your hands for a moment on your low belly, right above your pubic bone, so you can just feel your breath. You get to decide when you move towards Shavasana. You can stay like this for a lot longer. And if your hips ache at all and you're like, this is no longer supporting my well being, then you get to change. So remember to relax your upper body too. Your head is melting, your breath is deep, your shoulders are relaxed. Time, you want to straighten your legs for the last couple of minutes, that's great. And you can stay in Supta Baddha Konasana as long as you'd like. Feel the sense of ground. Drop your body weight. Feel effortless support. The earth has got you. Begin to deepen our breath. Enjoy that deep breath. Feel your grounding one more time. And then invite movement, however feels good to your body. Eventually finding your side and finding your upright posture. Take your time. Let's have gratitude for our yoga practice. What a gift to have when we need support and of our well-being, that we have these tools that we can use anytime. Okay, so let's honor the gift of our practice and send some of the energy that you cultivate in your practice, the calmness or presence or whatever it is that you like about the way you feel at the end of your yoga practice. Send some of this energy outward. Okay, share. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.